All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is August 26th. I hope everyone's feeling well. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. Here we are. It's another day. Let me just see what's going on here. Make sure that everything is live. There you go. There you go. So here we are. Friday, there was a big move after trickle down for 5 days, and it was pretty potent, the big thrust. And then yesterday you came in and you had a few inside days, a few trappy type action, and some things were really good. Some things gave you ways to trade around it. As long as you get ways to trade around positions, I'm cool with it. But when they kind of don't give you a way to manage positions and kind of trap you, it always kind of sucks a little bit. But anyway, with that being said, yeah, I'm a little late today. It's funny. So for those of you who like to follow along and hopefully live a life of balance, which is what I like to do. You saw that this weekend I brought Phoenix to the reservation. She went for a run. She's 9 months old. So this morning, she woke up after I did my 20 at 5:20. So every morning, people are like, Red Dog, how do you frame your week? I'm like, well, wake up every day, drink my 16-ounce glass of water, and then I get ready, sit down, look at the news, look at what's happening around the world to see what's going on with the futures, what's going on with Europe, what's going on with Asia, look at some news. And then I do a 20-minute workout with some of my guys from around the world, a few hundred people actually. And then I get ready to go. So today, Phoenix, I actually woke up, I let her out, and she wouldn't come back in. So for 10 minutes, I was trying to get her back in. And I'm like, this better not be indicative of my day, which is really funny because, traders are creatures of habit. Something goes wrong in the morning, like, the trading gods are going to know. But anyway, got here on time, and now we do the 6:30 Club, and then I do 40 charts for the Alpha team. And then, we do the node. And then today I have Benzing at 8:35. And then we get ready for, obviously, NVIDIA tomorrow. And I'm doing a webinar with Adam Mesh, who one of the best in the business, good friend who we're going to go over the criteria of what it takes to be a power play. We have this product called the Power Plays where I tell you what to do. Some of you guys don't want to kind of, some want a nice framework of what I look at, and you pick 4 or 5 things from the 30 or 40 charts, and then some like, Red Dog, just tell me what to do, and I don't have time to figure that out. But anyway, here I am. Let's see how it goes. Futures right now are down 1 or 2 handles. The SPYs right now are only down 3 cents. They were basically down $1 yesterday. If you look at the chart, not a big deal in the SPYs, right? Held the top third of the range. Huge move on Friday after the trickle down. 642.36 is the low. We go sideways here, and things look pretty damn, what's it called? Kosher. Kosher for Passover. It's not Passover yet, but anyway. With that being said, yesterday was a decent day of trading. Our focus really was Tesla coming in on Friday. A lot of us got long Tesla. Finally had a nice move. And then yesterday, sitting here with all of you at the 6:30 Club, I was like, you know what? It's down $2. This is going to be a good opportunity. Sometimes if it opens up, you just sell whatever you took from the day before, right? I'm like, instead, what we could probably do is buy it down $2, have it trade above Friday's high, of 340 and a quarter, and have more shares and make more money for a day two. And that's what happened. So today you walk in, Tesla's down $1. Probably kind of get a very similar move where you could buy it down $1, trades through 349.53 and gets a push. But yesterday was a much better setup. So hopefully some of you guys caught that. Let's see. I have a lot of comments right here. Let's see. Anyone yesterday in the 6:30 Club come in long Tesla and buy more? Hopefully you did. You probably made some really good money yesterday then. By the way, you could talk to me on the comment section of whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter or whatnot. But anyway, that was Tesla. Anyway, every now and then when Tesla's trading well and can create cash flow, it's really awesome. Sam Stevens says, ASTS woke up again. That is true. ASTS has been a stock that we've been going with all year. This was a lesson in endurance. Remember the first move that happened from literally $4 to 39, wound up going through a corrective phase that drove people to drink. Bloody Marys in the morning. No Bloody Marys in the morning, but this little false breakout threw everyone off, if you remember back in March. And then finally, we had this really awesome sequence above the 8-day moving average, which I say when you're above the 8-day moving average, you can make a lot of money. And a lot of guys made millions in this move. And then you had to pull back to the 21-day when it made new highs, and now it's rebuilding. So yes, you have a bit of a double bottom here at 42.44. It popped back up. I'm not sure if it's going to all of a sudden make another new, all-time high, but this was a nice trade, especially if you sold into strength when it lost the 8-day. So this is something that I'm going to probably stay with for the rest of the year. It's been on the go-to list. ASTS will stay in the go-to list. I'm not going to get into the fundamentals of the entire thing about how they're launching satellites everywhere, and maybe you won't lose your phone connection or your internet connection. But anyway, that's that. Yes, thank you. Sometimes that happens. You like the Bloody Mary today? Okay, you could have one. RKLB, yes, RKLB is, some think this leads ASTS. It's always good to have a groups, the strength in numbers. That's what we have with the alpha team, strength in numbers, over 500 people trading together all day long, trying to find the action. But yeah, this popped up also. This high here for RKLB is 53.44. I don't know if it's going to just take off and break above that, but I will say that, it's in the game for it. This is, again, should be the two of them could kind of be together. I get it. So Kent asked me to go over Open, OPEN. Open had a nice move. It's one of those meme-ish type trades that could be used with technicals. There was huge volume, but it did a massive reversal yesterday. So you had to make sure you weren't a little piggy and maybe even used your sell rules, right? So what did Open do? Open gave, this was when it woke back up. This was probably the spot you should have been back in at around 260 after the first move. And then it went above and didn't stay above 508. It was fighting that yesterday. So finally they caught the shorts, which they did. It got above 508, made a high of 587 and traded below it. And that is, my friends, what we call a red dog reversal, meaning that is your sell signal to at least reduce some shares. It traded through, couldn't hold above, and now it can do whatever it wants. Right now it's up 4 cents. The juice kind of broke a little bit here. So if I were you, I would not be hyper-focused on Open right now. But it was a nice trade. A lot of you guys were like, you're looking for something to do. It's August. You had your first move up, pulled back to the 8-day, then it took out. This was another pivot for it to take out. That was 410. All right, so if you bought it through 410, you made a lot of money. Okay, if you chased it at 585, you didn't. But overall, this is a nice little sequence. I don't care, if it's a meme name, if it's not fundamentally good or this or that. Bottom line is it traded very well technically, where you had your day one breakout, went to 410, came back, held the 8-day, traded above it, and there you go. Now it just kind of moved back a little bit. So Nelvis is saying AMD is in play today. They just did a deal with IBM. All right, so let's see what AMD is doing. AMD looked as if it was going to break below this little range yesterday, okay, to the downside. So I'm sure if anything with AMD or IBM is probably a big news. So AMD is up 5 already. Okay, so if you're up 5 already, I would say in order for it to be a buyable, what is this? This is 168-ish. 168-ish. That's, that would be a spot to see if it can clear. Where is it now? Hold on. It is right there. So this is your battleground. It gets above 168-ish. There's definitely room. It just pulled back from a high of 186. So from 186 down, and probably some people are short. So this is something that will be in play today. So yeah, Nelvis, you could play it. I don't, it's going to be a battle right here. So it's got to get above this and stay above it. That'll also mean it's got to get above these moving averages. And if it does, what's this high here? This is 173. That gap was filled. So there's definitely some room. Kind of interesting how they did it. Someone pretty highly influential from their company left yesterday to create a negative sentiment, probably got people out in short. And then all of a sudden they make an announcement with, with IBM. What's IBM doing? Probably not much with it. Top of $1.50. All right. So yeah. So this is your spot, 168.53. Gets above that. If people are short it, there's probably some room for it to go a little bit higher. As far as Nvidia is concerned, uh, you pop back up in the range. You have earnings coming out on Wednesday. It's only Tuesday. It can kind of do whatever it wants. The higher it goes though into the numbers, the harder it's going to be for it to really have a move to pay options because it's kind of priced for perfection. Good morning, Scott. What would be a stop on Tesla for new entry today? That's a tough question. I'll get back to it. I just went over it before. Quantum. Quantum's not really doing so great. Quantum got very, very choppy. Let's go over a few of the quantum names if that's what you want. QUBT. You know what? It's got a small little spot here, right? What's this high here? This is 1609. So let's go right here. So 1609 is probably a little spot. So you're probably thinking about quantum because AMD and what's it called? And IBM is very, quantum based. So let's go to QUBT and see what's going on there. QUBT down 11 cents, so that doesn't care. When I think of quantum, I think of IONQ. IONQ is down a penny, so that doesn't care. And then the other one is, QBTS, which is down 23 cents. So there's really not much to go on unless you're really that forward looking and you think everyone's going to go to quantum because of a deal with AMD and IBM. So this was what? This was QUBT. So, this was the range, failed, holding lower support. So if you think it's going to get to the back upper end of the range, maybe in the fall, first thing it's got to do is get above and stay above 1609. And if you want to be long versus spot, you could be long versus this support. So I get it. Starbucks. Raul Boel is saying, let's go over Starbucks. I haven't traded Starbucks in a long time. And I guess that is why, because it's broken. Broken. Below all the moving averages. Crap. Excuse my French. And I drink Starbucks. What could you have seen? Well, this was kind of a false breakout. And here is where it broke the 8-day. And it was below it the entire time. Tried to go. Look at this ugly candle right here. This was a pretty damn ugly candle, and it's just out of play. I'm sorry. Unless you have like a thesis on Starbucks. Usually I will say that like blue chip companies, I guess Starbucks is considered a blue chip company. At some point you could buy them ugly because something winds up going right at some point, Anyway, so with that being said, someone's asked me about Apple. I did buy Apple yesterday. It's not great. Not really special, but I feel like I've caught Apple a bunch of times in the last few months really well. This was the first time I made really good money on Apple in June, gave you a 4-day move. And then we were sitting here when they said they were going to put $100 billion back into the U.S. and it woke up. Then we had another nice move. And I did get to sell most into 235. So I have the luxury to be long Apple versus 223. So I'm long some Apple. It's not great. It's just kind of like, it's a slow week. They had the big buyback. Maybe it's a little oversold, or not even oversold, but maybe it's just, anyone who sold Apple sold it already. So I'm in some Apple. I think it's fine. Morning, Scott. Thoughts on Hood? Yeah. So there was some talk out there that Hood would be put in the S&P 500. It wasn't. Instead, it was IBKR. I'm not in the stock. I'm in some options. I still think it's fine. I don't think people are going to sell Robinhood because it wasn't in the S&P 500 this time. Maybe it'll be in a month from now. I think overall, just like the market, it needs a little bit of time. If you're long it, you could be long versus this area, which is 103. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to give it to here. I think it's fine. I'm not in the stock. I'm in some options, and I'm not going to add to it. I'm just going to watch it a little bit because also you kind of have crypto under pressure. Bitcoin's playing with 110. It's back above it this morning, which is better. Ethereum is playing with the 8-day, and typically Robinhood likes when crypto's strong because it's just kind of in that basket. The younger kids like that too, but it's fine. This is it's only down 50 cents, so it's not like there was such anticipation that it was going to be. If there was, Robinhood would be down like 10. Google, yes, Google has been absolutely fantastic. I got to toot my own horn on that one. Toot toot. It's been a power play for like 3 different times, and it's made a lot of money for our power play subscribers who like to be told what to do. The last time we put Google on a power play was, I believe, on Friday, and that was right around here. And then all of a sudden now it's in a new high. If you want to adjust your stop, I would think that this thing wants to stay above 205.28 now. I'm still long it. I have less. It's been moving along. I like it. It's been great. Great. This is where I really started re-engaging it, though. Actually, no, right here. So it's been a nice active sequence above the AIM-21 day. When you get a stock above the AIM-21 day and you could buy dips and play it through levels and sell into strength, it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't happen often. Yeah, it does happen often, but when it happens, it's great. Nelva says, if you trust my picks in documentaries, then watch Ruin. Ruin. Okay, Nelvis. Well, what network is it on? And Palantir. Okay, you know what, Peter? I'll look at PLTR with you. I haven't really been looking at it because it's been kind of in rebuild mode. Where it kind of did a false breakout here and then just pulled back, and I don't like to short things that much. So I kind of just got out of the way. But you could say there's a low, a higher low. If you think that it's rebuilding for better prices in the fall, this is 142. You could be long versus 142, or you could say this is a higher low and you could be long versus 149. So it all depends on how you want to do it. And then, in order for this to get out of the penalty box a little bit, it's got to get above the moving averages, which this is 163.20. What's PLTR doing this morning? Let's see. PLTR is down $1. Yeah, you know what? This could be red to green today, I would think. Yes, SoFi has been really strong. NEO finally made a move. It did. NEO finally made a move. The story of fear and greed on FTX. It's a Bloomberg documentary. So Nelvis is saying there's a good show to watch, which I could use a good show. Right now I'm watching Billy Joel. I saw the first half. It's awesome. And I'm also finishing Dexter with my wife because we've watched Dexter for like the past decade, and it's awesome. But I'll get to that. That's cool. So Palantir is down $1. Hood's down 50 cents. Tesla's down $1.22. And the Qs are up 13 cents. Not a whole lot going on this morning, which is okay, sometimes better. Someone's asked me about levels in CRCL. CRCL has been a new issue that's been absolutely crushed. It happens. A lot of people are saying actually there's like some fraud here. I'm not saying that. I have no idea. It's up 40 cents. But look at these sell rules. Look at this red dog reverse. Like first you had your fast and furious move with the new issue. It happens. There's a lot of people short. There's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of emotions. And then right here, you had a red dog reversal. I'm going to teach you what a red dog reversal is right now. So a red dog reversal, which a lot of you guys know, you could actually Google red dog reversal. It's Googleable. Is that a word? Googleable? Where it got above 244 for those thinking it's going back to 298, went above 244 and failed. Okay, went to 262. That is a sell signal. That is an adjustment signal. People like, red dog, what do you mean by sell rules or this or that? I'm like, well, that's a sell rule right here. So if you got back involved because you thought, hey, it just got tight, it pulled in from 298, good move to 244, got above 244 and then failed, and then it's been below the moving averages since. So if you have a thesis on this because you're into stable coins and you know what's going on, it's one thing, but for me, it's broken, and I'm just like having on the other side. Nelvis says the second half of Billy Joel is better than the first half. I kind of like the first half. Billy Joel, to me, was a great story on how, he started out of, Hicksville. He had his long hair and he failed a bunch of times. He stole that wasn't good. Don't never steal your buddy's wife. So he stole his buddy's wife, and then he went through depression, tried to kill himself twice, and thank God he didn't kill himself. Also shows you that, things happen to everybody, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And obviously, he look at Billy Joel. He tried to commit suicide twice. But anyway, just showing the rise of it through the 80s. I love it because I was born in 1972, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing. But anyway, I love the show. Billy Joel is awesome. I'm listening to Billy Joel radio right now. But if the second half is better, that's cool. Googleable, the whole reason to invest in Google. There you go. Time to buy BMNR. So let's get to that, and then that'll be that. BMNR, I tried it yesterday. or actually I tried it on Friday and I took it home for Monday, and it was lower, and I went green and I traded it through, and then I kind of bought the dip, and the dip turned into a bigger dip, and I lost a little bit of money there. Right now it's up $1. Um, it could be time to, it's tight. It all depends on what Ethereum's going to do. Ethereum right now is up 12 cents. Last night, I guess crypto had a little bit of a reversal where it stopped some people out and came back up. Well, let's get to that before we go. Let me just get this out of the way. Um, so there's Ethereum. See what IBIT is doing. IBIT down 30 cents. So this broke 63, which was correlated to 110.5. So it's not back above it. Ethereum, if Bitcoin keeps dragging and goes to 106, it's going to be hard for Ethereum to hold in there. And to me, it'll be kind of hard for BMNR. But if both of these correct, and if BMNR could hold, just say 47-ish, I think it's a good sign. I like Peter, and I also like Tom Lee. He's a little bit of a cheerleader at times, but ultimately I'd rather someone be a bull cheerleader than a bear cheerleader, because historically over time, the bull market wins. Historically over time, if you put money in a 401k every single month for 30 years, you're going to make a lot of money. You could do that, and you can make cash flow and be a market timer. Remember, on the weekends, I go over my 7 accounts. I'm not going to go over them right now, just so you could take advantage of every market frame. But anyway, with that being said, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Today could probably be a bit of an inside day after yesterday's action, which wouldn't be so bad in front of NVIDIA tomorrow. Lily's flying. Okay, let's see what Lily's doing. I saw some news actually out on Lily, and Lily's kind of broken. Kind of filled this gap a little bit. I did this chart the other day where I went up and came to here and filled the gap, or filled a portion of it. Let's see, Lily is up 18. So I think I saw something out with news but anyway, so this is what? This is 719. So right now it's at 714. So it's got room to about 719, gets above 719. It could fill that gap. Lily's been a broken name for a long time. I remember Lily was something that I traded a lot. I had on my game frame all the time, and it was above the 21-day acting special. That was kind of here during this whole time frame, and since then it's been a choppy mess. So for now, I would say watch 719, gets above 719. There's a little bit more room to about 633. You always want to frame things out. What's the probability of something happening? Where's the battleground? Where can it go? And and there's probably people caught short here. People are probably like, oh my goodness, look at Lily, just broke back below, which was here. So now you have, this gap above, which could be filled if you're trading it. Anyway, lots of ways to go around what's happening and doing what's going on. That was a good call out, GP Gary. JP Morgan looks pretty. You want me to do JP Morgan and Goldman before I go? By the way, it's 6:55. I've been doing this for 25 minutes. T3 says I'm only allowed to do it for 20, and I'm 5 minutes over. Anyway, if you do get value out of the 630 Club that I've been doing literally since the pandemic, over 5 years, and you make money here, by the way, you could be in the alpha team and spend the entire day looking at positions, looking at how we manage them, looking at us live, having a bunch of other personalities that are sharing news, doing what they're going to do, or you could do power plays. But if you just tune in from the internet, you better subscribe to Red Dog Mindset, which is a subscribe button above you. It's only for $10. Otherwise, at some point in the future, you might not be able to watch the 630 Club anymore. So anyway, with that being said, let me leave you with JP Morgan. JP Morgan, it's hanging out. Got above this little wedge. Looks kind of like Goldman. Definitely a leader. Definitely when the market goes up, it looks like it's going up. It's hanging here above the moving averages. Yeah, I think it looks all right. Someone asked me about Amazon. I don't know. As long as tech kind of hangs in there, I kind of think that Amazon is okay to be long versus 220 or in here. And at some point, maybe it tries to take this out. I bought some options in Amazon for the end of the week, but we'll see. Yeah, tech could be a choppy again. Choppy ahead of NVIDIA tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. So don't over trade, my doggies. All right, but there are definitely some things to do, and the market already came off the morning lows, so we'll see what's next here. The rotation trade is the debate. Does the market continue to have a crazy rotation, or does it relax a little bit? Because now what you're going to start hearing is insurance cut. September is being looked at as an insurance cut now because some think Powell's doing it just to do it, and then he'll be done. Now, if that's the case, this whole rotational view might not go as far as people want it to go. It might just be a lot of what the existing trend is, which isn't so bad either. All right, guys, have a great day.